Chevron delivering an earnings beat as production hit a record. Oil giant Chevron sees a lot of upside in Venezuela. Hey, Mike Wirth is the man who's in charge of Chevron. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Great quarter, raising quarterly dividend, output coming up. What do you think is driving your increase in output? Because I don't want to just pin it on Venezuela.
Well, 2025 was a record year for us, really, in growth, execution, and shareholder returns. Adjusted free cash flow was up 35%, even as oil prices were 15% lower. We set a production record worldwide. We set production records here in the U.S. We had our highest U.S. refinery throughput since the 1990s. And we returned a record $27 billion in cash to our shareholders. As you mentioned, we increased our dividend this week, 4%, the 39th year in a row that we've increased the dividend. And our shares yield about 3 times the S&P 500 in terms of the dividend yield. So we've got good organic growth. We've consolidated Hess for a portion of last year, started up a big project in Kazakhstan, continued to grow in the Permian, grow in the Gulf of America. We've got a broad, diversified portfolio that continues to deliver high margin, low cost growth.
Well, Mike, I think it's important for our viewers to know this is being done at a time when oil is not doing that well. Your numbers seem to have gotten in a way to have, I hesitate to do this, but I'm going to say it, more secular growth than the other oil companies that I see.
Well, we've certainly been focused on growing free cash flow. Some of that comes with volume, some of it comes with margin expansion. And as I mentioned, even in a period of declining oil prices, which we've seen over the last 12 months, we've been able to grow our free cash flow, which supports those distributions to shareholders. We're taking cost out of our business. We're becoming more efficient. We're only scratching the surface on what we can do with AI. I think that's the next leg of both efficiency and asset productivity we'll see in our business. So we're working across the entire portfolio to drive that growth in free cash flow.
I'm glad you mentioned AI, not just for what you're doing with it, but I know that you use the amazing natural gas numbers. Have any hyperscalers contacted you and just said, Mike, we need to take down a huge amount of your natural gas. Let's do a deal?
Well, we're certainly talking to all the hyperscalers about power supply. Absolutely. They're very interested in a project that we're developing in West Texas. We produce 3 billion cubic feet per day in the U.S. And we've got 7 of GE Vernova's largest turbines with secure delivery dates. We've got a site. We're into permitting, engineering, and we're in discussions with the biggest companies in the world, some of which you've already mentioned this morning, about a purpose-built energy park not connected to the grid, so it doesn't drive up prices for consumers, but scaled alongside of their data center growth to support their ambitions. So we're in contact with them. Later this year, we would expect to announce a customer and more definitive details on this.
In 2026? Really?
Absolutely.
Soon?
First power in 2027.
Wow. Didn't know that. Okay, I just want to get to Venezuela before I go to my colleagues. I know that there are things called productive participation contracts in Venezuela, including one that literally just passed. It seems to be that they could make it so that they can tell you how much you're going to make, but it sounds like you're going to be able to produce a little bit more. And under this, because you stayed down there, is there a possibility that you will be the most, like a Kazakhstan deal? You'll be the guys. Because they're the ones you trust, they trust you, and you know how to do it, and you know how to do it without employees getting hurt.
Well, we've stayed when others didn't. We're getting paid back some debts that we're owed, and it does give us a significant head start, and the country has tremendous long-term potential. We've been there for most of the last 100 years, and it's got the potential to grow up to 50% over just the next 18 to 24 months. Our position does, on top of going from 50,000 barrels a day to 250,000 over just the last 2 years. We'll need some additional authorizations from the U.S. government in order to do so, but we see this as a valuable resource option for the future in our portfolio. And as you say, our focus remains on safe and reliable operations as always.
Mike, Rubio was on the Hill this week. A lot of discussion about security and whether or not the administration would put forward more military assets to maintain security. Do you consider it safe? I mean, the president this week said Americans will be able to visit soon. Do you see it as that kind of stable ground?
Yeah, Carl, we've been operating there for, through the last many years, and including when there's been concerns about military action and other things. We've got good, strong safety protocols and security protocols in place in the country. Our people are safe, and that's the first focus that we have. So yes, there are parts of the country that I would say are less safe. The areas where we operate, certainly we feel it's appropriate for us to have expatriate employees there as well as national employees, and our operations have continued uninterrupted through this entire period of time.
You know, I think, Mike, it's David, when people talk about security, though, they're also just talking about the security of my ability to operate in the country and not be nationalized again. I mean, yesterday, literally yesterday, the president there signed a law that opens the nation's oil sector to privatization. Is it your expectation that if you do make plans to invest a lot more capital, you're going to be able to get a return on that? Because in 10 years, that privatization will still be in place, or 15 years? How confident are you about that?
Well, this will evolve over time, I think, David. You know, we're still taking a look at this new hydrocarbon law that passed yesterday. Stability of government and the rule of law is very important for us anywhere in the world that we operate. We consider security, contract terms, the ability to get a return on our investment, commercial stability, regulatory predictability when we make investment decisions. And so like everywhere, those things matter. I think we see Venezuela taking steps in a positive direction to address those issues, which will encourage investment not only from a company like ours, but from others that I think are also considering the opportunities there.
Right. And yeah, when do you think you'll actually have a better sense for what that law really means? I mean, again, as you point out, just signed yesterday, but obviously seems to be an important moment for the country.
Well, I do think it's an important moment because they recognize that the terms there have made it difficult for companies like ours to invest there. Our position on the ground has been primarily focused on recovering debt that we're owed, and we've been successfully doing that. But the growth of the production in the country is going to require new capital and companies beyond ours to come in and do the same kind of a thing. And so I think that's what they're trying to address. It'll take us a little while to understand what's in the new bill. And then, of course, we're looking for other signs of economic reforms and progress and stability in government. And so all of these factor into our plans. We'll stay very disciplined on capital. We've got a global portfolio that we can invest in around the world, as we've been discussing earlier. And so Venezuela's opportunities will be stacked up against those others, and we'll have to deliver returns that are competitive.
All right, Mike, just quickly, Leviathan, final investment decision, 2.1 billion cubic feet off the coast of Israel. Where are you going to put that? Where's that going to go? You need a pipeline.
We just sanctioned a big project at Leviathan, which is offshore Israel. This is an area that's a world-class resource. We've got a platform, Leviathan and Tamar, both of which we're expanding already with production that'll come on later this year, and then a bigger expansion of Leviathan that comes on towards the end of the decade. This supplies the majority of the gas into Israel, a lot of gas into Jordan, and the growth will also supply Egypt, where some of this gas goes today, but a significantly larger amount will go in the future. So it's important for regional energy supply, regional trade, and security, and it's a beautiful resource.
All right, Mike, thank you. I hope your knee surgery, you continue to get better. I know it's been a bear, but I suspect that you'll be running around in a week.
Making good progress, Jim. Thanks very much. Great to see everybody.
Absolutely. Mike Wirth runs Chevron with a great quarter, and I love that dividend, and it is safe.